I
Yeah,
mean,
thanks for having your
I just
experience.
love having somebody to talk to. I
Yeah.
mean, because most people don't really understand,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes me feel good to have someone that understands where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's very good that you're talking about it. I did not want to talk about it because of the stigma that surrounds fertility, especially in younger women, you know,
Hmm.
during their childbearing years. And that's one of the things I wanted to touch on tonight too. With this episode, because October is Mental Health Awareness Month, and not only that, it's Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, along with Domestic Violence Awareness Month and Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yep.
So tonight, yeah, we're going to be focusing on the mental health as well as the pregnancy and infant loss awareness for this month and how it relates to fibroids.
Hmm.
And, yeah. So that's what we're discussing tonight. And if we have time, we can talk a little bit more, a little bit more, because I know we kind of glossed over it a little bit. The bill that was introduced in the Senate in August, but was previously introduced in the House back in March. Now, that one I did not get wind of. I missed that one.
So who introduced that one?
That one was Representative Yvette Clarke out of New York.
Oh, wait, you know what? I think I kind of got wind of that.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't as highly publicized, and I'm pretty sure they've been strategic about that, because to me, it wasn't as highly publicized as it was when Senator Kamala Harris did it, in August. And it may have been a timing thing, because July is Uterine Fibroids Awareness Month, kind of officially, unofficially, because it's still gaining traction and getting attention. But for them to do that in August, I think was very timely. Plus, that was the time we were building up to the primaries and coming up to the election too. So I'm pretty sure they're strategic.
Corona did hit like in March and stuff.
What'd you say?
So Corona did hit around that time.
That's
COVID
true.
did. So it came to full awareness. So it probably got lost in the shuffle.
That's true. And you know what? That's another topic that we could talk about too. How are women who are battling fibroids, how is COVID-19 impacting this whole experience? When you may not be able to get to the doctor how you want to, especially when everything was quarantined and locked down and the doctors didn't want to see anybody,
Yeah. No, that, because I didn't really have that problem, because I had an appointment in March, but that's when everything started closing. And then a few weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I need to go ahead and just schedule my appointments and just get back to on track with that. So I went to my OB 2 weeks ago. And so he was all alarmed because my iron or hemo was low. And he said normal levels are like 12, and I was like a 9. And I was like, I said, I've always been like this. I said, I guess I've just adapted, but he was just so So he's like, maybe we can, do an iron infusion. So I was like, okay. But at that time, because right now I'm at the point where I think I'm just going to go ahead and have the hysterectomy.
Okay.
And so I went in there and told him that. And so he, and I had told him about the iron pills because, they make you really constipated. And so he wanted to kind of see where things were and sent me down for labs. That's where he saw that my hemo was low. And they scheduled me for an iron infusion that following Monday.
Okay.
So I really didn't know what that entailed. So my mom and my sister, I was raised in a Jehovah's Witness household. My mom and sister are Jehovah's Witnesses. So I was calling them. I was like, well, what do y'all think about this? What do you? And they were like, oh, we didn't really heard of it. But because we're not accepting blood, it should have been okay. So I went, and I feel good. It's been a week. I'm able to wear my high heels that I haven't been able to wear in about 2 years with no problems. I have energy, and I've always had energy, but there would be days that I would just be dragging.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't felt that. In the mornings, I get up, I bounce up out of bed. I don't drag in the morning. So I'm glad I had that. And I was telling my sister, she's like, oh, might have to start taking into that too. So, and I stressed again to him that I didn't want a bloodless, I wanted the bloodless surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that they would give me, let me know if you know about this particular drug. Lupron is to throw me into early menopause, because when you in menopause, that's supposedly supposed to help shrink the fibroids.
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, so but he did also say that and it seems like nothing works for African American women. So he said that the results are lower in African American women. So I was like, okay. And I was like, so I was trying to get my ducks in a row, trying to see what insurance paid for, because I don't want a lot of out-of-pocket costs. I don't have medical bills and stuff on my credit and stuff, and I don't want to start. So
they are relentless.
I
They don't care. Trust their money. So I totally
understand. He's checking with the insurance on that, but then I've been reading up on it, and there's some things that kind of have me concerned. So I'm gonna get back with him on that. And then I went to my internal medicine doctor, and because I wanted to make sure what my clot is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the results of that today. So they said I don't have to take my Eliquis anymore. So I'm like, whoo. And I had my mammogram. So I really went into full gear as far as getting back into the doctors and stuff. And like I said, I really, really want to find me an African American doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And because I really want to see what's shoot. Oh, can you see me? Oh, shoot.
You took it off.
Alexa. Okay, wait, hold on. I don't know how to turn it off.
Okay. Let me say this. And whatever her decision is, as far as what Dawn chooses to do, it's her decision. She just throws things me and my mom's way to just kind of see I feel for it, I am a scary cat, so I'm always like, well, be sure. I did try to rush her into the hysterectomy because just the experience that she told me about. I've never had that, but I've heard more people telling me about these things. And that was the first time I had really got a kind of understanding of what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And when he would tell me this, I'm just like, how do people even exist day to day?
Right.
If you bleeding like that and you feeling like that, and you just, it was just kind of like, oh my God. So, and it made me sad for her.
Yes.
And so, so I said, okay, well, let me kind of wrap my brain around it. And I was like, well, just do the hysterectomy. But then I'd have to take a step back and say, it's easy for me to say what she should do.
Right.
And that's what I had to tell her. I said, I know it's easy for me to say what you should do. So you just get a good grip around it. And I just told her, whatever she decided to do, if she decided to do it, then whatever she decides, I'm there. I just, being a twin, we just kind of have this, we have this different kind of relationship than a regular sibling.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want her to be okay. And so just when hearing her talk about it, and then, when she would see pictures, and she would just be sad, which would make me sad for her, because I work out just as much as she do, but I can lose the weight. I don't have a problem with it. And she would be doing the same thing I'm doing, and she's like, but I'm just not I'm just not losing. I'm still trying to encourage her, but it's like, I don't know what to do. You know, so I'm just glad she's moving forward. She's feeling better about some things. And she know I'm her number one cheerleader. So whatever she does, I'm gonna be there. I just trying to get an understanding behind it, because I don't know nothing about it. Then, you know, she was saying, you know, our mom has fibroids, but hers don't bother her. We never knew that. We never knew. She didn't talk about it.
And in talking to my mother years later, I found that she had fibroids as well, but they didn't really bother her. And so what happens, because they know of this condition, but it really didn't bother them, they don't think it's necessary to discuss it.
Right, and that's what Don said. Our mom said is that, and our mom is a big, well, if it was me, she's a big one of them, you know. If it was me, you know, and so that's what she told her. Well, if it was me, which it has been her because she didn't do anything about it, she told Don that, well, if it's not bothering you, then don't worry about it.
Right.
But we're at, you know, we're going to be 50 in January, so we're always trying to, you know, we don't want to be looking up and be 50, 60 years old and got this weight on us. We're always trying to exercise and stuff. So I know where she's coming from, but I know we know our mom too, you know, and it's like, you never talked about this and you had it, you know, and so now we're kind of like, okay, you know, if maybe had she talked about it, she could have got a better hold of it or better thoughts of it early on or something like that. Oh, it's weird.
And many times there I'm sure several reasons why we're not talking about it. One is probably because of knowledge about it. For one, how do you communicate something that you don't even know a lot about? And then two, you know, in alignment with what, you know, this month is about, the mental health awareness portion of it is dealing with the attitudes and the stigmas about what womanhood is in our society. You know, is it really inextricably linked to having a womb and being able to bear children? Because all of that is affected with the presence of these fibroids and dealing with this whole experience. You're having trouble with your period. There's an emotional and psychological impact with that, you know, when these fibroids start developing. You don't know what's happening to your body. You don't know if you're going through menopause. You don't know, you know, how severe this condition is because you don't know much about it anyway. So first, how can you communicate that? You know, and then to have some type of illness, just in general, how do people respond, and how do you respond to people who respond and react to you when you're going through an illness? Many people kind of close up. They don't want anybody to know that they're sick and they're going through something because you feel vulnerable. There might be people you think who are around you who would take advantage of you not being well. That's the reality too. So some people.
When she told me, when she told me, I think she had been going through it for a while, and I was just like, oh, I probably was looking crazy because I'm like, what you mean? I mean, because you know she was saying she'd have to pack extra clothes and this and that, and not you nervous about going out because you don't know if you're gonna mess up. I mean, it was just like, oh my goodness.
This the fear of the embarrassment and humiliation of possibly soiling.
Which
you know, I mean, when we start our cycle.
But you know, and just having a regular cycle, that's kind of a fear for myself. So to have it compounded with what she was going through, I'm just like, okay, no, I don't know that I know my nerves will be crazy.
And that's why too, you were pushing for her to get that hysterectomy because one, you wanted, you know, her to be free of this malady that she was having, how it was impacting her life. But two, you can definitely identify with some of the fear that comes around having that cycle and somebody knowing, oh my gosh, I messed up my clothes. Now everybody knows I'm on my period. Yeah.
So I'm really proud of her. And when she told me she was doing this and just help her, whatever she needs to help her for her being, you know, because even though we twins, we still have our own separate stuff, you know, so it affects me because she is my twin, but I don't know the effects because I'm not going through it. You know, so I'm really excited for it. She, you know, like I said, last month she said she feels good about it, talking about it, and basically being able to talk to someone who can relate.
Yes. That's very.
She can talk to me, but I can't relate to it. So
not to the whole experience.
Right.
Now, Dawn, what made you come to the decision to get the hysterectomy? What was that process like for you?
The weight.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. I'm tired of trying to. I mean, and I still work out at least 5 times a week, and I'm just tired. I'm tired of the weight. I think that my doctors were shocked because, like I said, prior to that, it was a lot of pushback, and I just want to be done. I'm actually to a point where I don't start crying and stuff. And I actually, at my doctor's appointments, I didn't cry. I couldn't believe it. And I'm just tired. I mean, because even when I went in, he's like, okay, well, we can get you scheduled. And I was like, okay, well, what do you mean by that? And he was like, oh, in about 2 weeks. And I said, no. I said, no, I don't want to do it this soon, because I'm thinking more so like the first of the year or whatever, or maybe mid-year or something like that. And again, by the end of the year, I may have changed my mind again, but right now I can't. The weight is I can't, because I'm about a 10 and a size 10, on a good day at 8, but I want to get back into my 4s and 6s. And I don't know, but I think a lot of this stems from my eating disorder. So that compounds this, because I think if I didn't have the eating disorder, I could probably deal with this, because I don't have no pain. It's just this weight that I cannot get off. And that drives me crazy. Now, one good thing was, and that kind of gave me some hope, was that I had lost weight when I went to the doctor. I had lost some weight, and it was about 5 pounds. So I was really, really excited. So I said to myself, I was like, "Ooh, if you continue doing what you're doing, maybe you can take some more off and get some more off." So, if I can see some results weight-wise by the end of the year, then no, I probably wouldn't have it. But I just, when I'm in these other groups and people talk about the pain and all the crazy, and like I said, my cycle started 3. Start to finish, went to 10 days, crime scene, bloody crime scene, the entire 10 days, back down to 4 days. So I'm at 4 days now. Okay. So, and it makes me wonder, okay, am I getting premenopausal? Is that a sign of it? And again, when you ask the doctors, of course, it's like, they don't tell you nothing, and that makes me mad too. I fuss about that a lot. And so, and I think the last time we talked, one of my friends was talking about Western medicine or Eastern medicine, the acupuncture and different things like that, which, and I still haven't done that either, because I do, in the back of my mind, I know it's something out there besides surgery.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And so I don't know. I mean, because like I said, next time when we talk next month, I will probably have changed my mind.
We're going to get to the different ways of treating it, because, yeah, there are other options than getting the hysterectomy. There's one called uterine fibroid embolization. It's where they think they tie something around the fibroid to cut the circulation, or do something to the fibroid to cut the circulation to it. Because if
that one, well, I'm asked about that, but I think he said on that, because that depends on size, right?
Yes.
Okay. And because I asked him the other day, and I said, well, how big is it? And he said that I pretty much have a 5-month pregnant stomach, and it's the size of a very large, is what he said, very large cantaloupe.
Okay.
Now, when people see me, they don't see that.
Yeah.
Because people say I carry my weight really well. They are shocked when I tell them my size.
Mm-hmm.
They say they don't see stomach, but again, you talking to a crazy person when it comes to weight. So that's all I see.
I know, but I told you the other day you look like you had lost some weight.
Yeah, you did, and that made me feel good.
Yeah, but I know me telling you and you feeling it is two different things. So
Yeah.
I get that.
That's true. So with the uterine fibroembolization, that's one option. I've seen photos of what happens after they do that, and I commend those women who decide to go that route, because that can be horrendous. The fibroid comes out from your
You
uterus,
know
out through your vagina.
This one in one of the groups last week, she showed something, and it looked so gross.
Yes.
She had that done, I think the previous month, but that, so I guess until it's all gone, it continues. And I would have been like, because when I saw it, I'm thinking, that would have scared the living daylights out of me.
It is basically dying. They're basically killing the tumor inside of you because they're cutting off the blood circulation to it. So it is dying and rotting inside of your body. So what comes with that also is an odor. But some people feel that's the best treatment option for them. There's also the myomectomy, which is what I tried before I did the hysterectomy, when they go into the uterus and they cut out the fibroids. So I tried that, and that's when he discovered that I had, all of those fibroids. I had 3 the size of oranges, or 2 the size of oranges and 2 the size of grapefruits, or something like that. But, and all of that was inside, and you really can't tell. In my case, I didn't tell that, and then my uterus itself has stretched to the size of a watermelon with all of those oranges and grapefruits inside of it, and then clustered along the wall. So, I couldn't tell either. I would still go exercising and walking because I felt myself getting heavier, and I said, okay, well, let me be proactive and exercise so I can keep my weight down. Not knowing, all of these tumors were just clustering inside of my body. So I went with
you had the myomectomy and they removed them, but did they come back because you had another procedure?
Yes. Now, he took the first 4 out and he showed them to me, and then he told me what he discovered, inside of my uterus, that there were a lot more clustered along the lining of the wall of my entire uterus, which again had stretched to the size of a watermelon and was literally touching my lungs. I said, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
And that was after the second miscarriage. And, he told me, he was like, I really don't see you having, being able to bear a child with this uterus. And I made my peace with that, because again, at that time, that was my second miscarriage. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not going through this again emotionally. That weighs on you mentally and emotionally, so I made my peace with that.
Sean, when people have fibroids, it makes it hard for them, because she don't know this part. It makes it hard for people. Now, some people have had kids with fibroids, but fibroids make it hard for people to carry kids to term.
No, and I can see that, because that's kind of in line with what is that women have? I can't think of the term.
Fibromyalgia?
No. It's something that be around the uterus or something that kind of keeps women from being able to carry the term. And I thought it was kind of all up under that same umbrella. And I can't think of what it is, but I can see that. I can see that. That's crazy. I just, because even when you tell me that, that the research is not really there for that, that's weird. That's strange.
Yes. By the age of 50, up to 90% of African American women can have this condition. They can develop it. And the research is so far behind, because all they have promoted thus far, really, largely, is just performing the hysterectomy. And many women do decide to do that because they can come back with the uterine fibroid embolization procedure, as well as with the myomectomy. You know, that's only a temporary fix. The only permanent fix so far is that hysterectomy. And when you're in an emotional and mental state where, you know, every month you're going to go through this crime scene, all this pain, you know, this fear of embarrassment, you know, some people do opt to just go ahead and take care of it, handle it once and for all. And in my
When
case,
you went through the miscarriages and you come to term that, you know, I'm not going to be able to have children because of this, how was your mom? How, you have siblings? I mean, did they rally around you? I mean, were they like, oh, you know, I mean, when you said you was going to just have the hysterectomy?
my coping method was not really telling anybody.
Mhm.
I talked to my doctors. I consulted with my doctors a lot because I wanted it to be my decision.
Mhm.
In my life, in my relationship with my mother, I was raised by my mom alone. And of course, a lot of her advice influenced my decision making. But with this, I wanted it to be my decision. I wanted to find out as much about it as I could, you know,
Mhm.
going through that process. Once I started taking it seriously, because at first I didn't really take it seriously. I didn't take it seriously until I started having those symptoms and they were really, really bad. And I said, okay, now something needs to happen here. And even like a few of my doctors in the beginning, they were like, oh, it's just uterine fibroids. You know, we'll watch them. No, we need to have a plan of action. You know, I want to know, you know, what can happen instead of just watching them. What can these things do? And along the way, I found out what they could do. Now, I tried, you know, home remedies and naturopathy and all of that, and that did help with the symptoms. But in the end, I found out, you know, they were still growing and clustering in my uterus.
Yeah.
Yeah, the symptoms subsided. You know, I would do, you know, drink apple cider vinegar and water and do things like that, you know, eat less meats. I didn't become a vegan or vegetarian, but I changed my eating habits in terms of the hormones that I would have in my meat. I didn't eat a lot of beef anymore. I would do chicken and fish and things like that. And, you know, a more plant-based diet, eating more fruit and things of that nature. So I tried the cure, you know, while I talked to my doctors to find out what was going on, understand what was going on, and try to stall to see if I would be able to have children.
Mhm.
You know, so I held out as long as I could. In the end, you know, that was the best option for me.
So what ages are they thinking that it really started hitting home? Because I'm thinking, because I've even thought, I wonder, can it happen to me almost being 50? Is there a possibility that that could happen to me? Or do they see it more in the
Possibly,
younger?
right. Normally during the childbearing years, it can start.
Okay.
Statistics have shown by age 25, there can be up to 25% of
Okay.
African American women that can develop them. But anytime during those childbearing years, I wouldn't, because the research is still being developed, I wouldn't doubt that anything, you know, I wouldn't take for granted that even at 50, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, because mine creeped up on me at what, 47, 46, and before then I could lose weight, I could do whatever I wanted to. So I mean, I wouldn't doubt that it would creep up overnight, because that's what mine did.
Yeah. Now, have they found that fibroids can become cancerous?
Not to my knowledge, but I'm sure that they have studies out there on that, but not to my knowledge. That's the
Which
question that
he
I've
did a
had.
biopsy
But I
on
have,
mine.
pardon?
He did a biopsy on mine, on the big one, and he said that it came back normal. Because I think it's very rare that it can be.
Okay.
So.
Any other questions? We're gonna be wrapping up in a minute. We have maybe about 5 or so minutes left.
No, you know, and like you said, I mean, because I think I knew it was Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's probably why I went ahead and started going to the doctors, getting my appointments and stuff out the way to kind of get my head right,
Mm-hmm.
not having to worry about it, with COVID and stuff, they had shut everything down. So, I can kind of procrastinate sometimes. So it was like, go do it, get it out the way, at least get back on track. So my mental's not as bad as it was last month. So, and I read a lot. I listen to music a lot. I have a lot of downtime.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start doing meditation just to kind of not get into that low place that I used to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to cry a lot about it. So.
Well, I'm always happy to hear that, you're finding ways of coping with it and healing, yourself through the process. There's a quote by Rosemary Fromson that says, every person's journey into grief is unique and personal. And this journey with fibroids, it does have a lot of grief with it, especially when you're dealing with fear, for one, and then the loss of, in many cases, some women feel like they're losing their womanhood when they lose the ability to bear children, or when they have to face the decision of losing their uterus, or not knowing what's happening with their reproductive organs. That fear transposes to, their ideas about womanhood. And that can be not only internal, but from also external forces from society and things that we've been hearing, over the years as we've grown up. So, that's why I'm here too, to help people with this journey, to hear their stories and see how we can heal together, getting through this particular malady, this issue, and getting to that place of healing.
Let me ask this real quick. Real quick. Hereditary, is it hereditary? Or are there links towards that, or?
That's an excellent question.
I don't know that I've seen anything about that, if it was hereditary or not. Have you, Stephanie?
I have not, but because so far they know that, up to 90% of African American women by the age of 50, it might be.
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah.
Some of the precursors that they have mentioned are obesity, but we're seeing too that women who aren't obese are developing them. Certain stressors that we have could also cause them as well.
Okay, real quick, tell my sister about the surgery that you had.
The surgery that I had was a supracervical hysterectomy. And what that is just the taking out of the uterus itself, not necessarily the fallopian tubes or the cervix. So a total hysterectomy takes out all three of those. It takes out your ovaries, your fallopian tubes, which are connected to your uterus. It takes out the uterus, and it takes out the cervix. The supracervical only takes out the the uterus.
Okay. What is it again? Because I was trying to explain it to my doctor, and he was just looking all crazy, but I know I didn't say this. So what is it again?
Supra, S-U-P-R-A, cervical. It takes out only the uterus and the fallopian tubes. So it will leave your ovaries and your cervix in place.
Now, what is if you want to try to have children, or is that help?
No, the uterus is the womb, so that's where the fetus will grow, and we're about to get cut off in a minute. Let me hurry up. That's where the fetus will grow in the womb, so that's what's being taken out. So you won't be able to carry a child, but if you have your ovaries and your eggs are still workable, then you can do like a surrogate or something like that. They'll extract your eggs and someone else can carry the baby for you. And the cervix is the entrance to the womb. He didn't feel it was necessary to take that. And in my conversation with him, with my doctor, he was educated outside of the United States, which is one factor. Many U.S. doctors aren't aware of this particular procedure. So he was educated outside of the United States. And that's what he recommended for me, because I told him, look, I'm not going to be able to carry children. So I want to make sure that I have pleasure, when I'm having sex. So he said, well, this is what we're going to do. And that's what he did.
Okay.
Okay. I'm definitely